Nike is one of the most recognized brands in the planet. Everyone knows the swoosh, everyone knows the just do it, but most people have never heard of the story of what actually took Phil Knight to build that company. He wrote a memoir called Shoe Dog, and there's a moment in that book where he describes what it felt when he realized he could not walk away from that company. Not because of a contract, not because of investors, but because people had built their lives around the thing that he started. Mortgages, kids in school, futures, all tied to whether the company survived or not. He said it was the most terrifying realization of his career. Not because the business wasn't doing good, because it was. It was terrifying because he understood that quitting was no longer an option. And I remember reading this and thinking, I understand this. I know exactly how he feels. Not at the same scale, but the weight is exactly the same, whether it's 10,000 people or 10 people. People depend on me every single day. And nobody told me what that would actually feel like. And more importantly, what I've learned about carrying that weight without letting it crush me. There's a moment in every business owner's life, and you never see it coming, where you go from being the person who chose this to the person who can't unchoose this. You can't have a bad quarter and just stop. You can't wake up burned out on a Tuesday and say, I'm done. Because people are counting on you not to be done. Your team doesn't clock out of their lives just because you had a bad week. Their rent is still due. Their plans still depend on that thing that you build. It's that seat you can't leave. Once you're in it, every decision you make carries someone else's stability on top of your own. And the longer you build, the heavier it gets. Not because there's something wrong with it, but because what you build actually matters to people now. Your clients don't see it. Your family sees you're working, but they don't see what's underneath. They see a title, but they don't see the weight. And that's the thing, nobody tells you about that weight. It doesn't just sit on your shoulders. It follows you in every decision you make or don't make in your business. A team member goes through a personal crisis, and all of a sudden, their workload is now yours. A client calls unhappy, and it's your reputation, your relationship, your revenue on the line. A project goes sideways on a Friday afternoon, and everyone looks at you. Not because they're blaming you, but because you're the one person who's supposed to have all of the answers. It's a running tab that never closes. Every person, every commitment, every promise your business has ever made, it's all logged in your head somewhere. A silent ledger that only you can see, and it's open 24 hours a day. Ben Horowitz, who built and sold Opsware for over $1 billion, wrote that the hardest skill a CEO can develop isn't managing a team or reading a P&L. It's managing their own psychology. Because as a leader, you absorb everything, and nobody trains you for that. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I feel seen, but what do I do about it? That's the question that changed everything for me. Marcus Aurelius, the head of Rome, arguably the most powerful person in the world at that time, would sit down every single night and journal. Not about conquest, but about the weight of showing up for people that depended on him, even when he was exhausted. That journal became meditation. And nearly 2,000 years later, leaders still read it because the weight hasn't changed. Titles changed, the industry's changed, but the weight is exactly the same. But here's what Aurelius understood that most business owners don't. And this is the thing I wish someone had told me years ago. Not all weight is the same. There's weight that builds you, and there's weight that buries you. And a lot of business owners can't tell the difference. The weight that builds you is the stuff that only you can do. The vision, the big decisions, the relationships that move the needle, leading your team through tough seasons, setting the direction when nobody else can see it yet. That is your weight. That's the weight you sign up for. And that is the weight that makes you better every year you carry it. The weight that buries you is everything else. It's the marketing you're managing yourself because you don't trust anyone else to do it right. It's the operations that you're micromanaging because you build a process and nobody runs you better than you. It's the client work you're still in the weeds on because handling it off feels like you're losing control. And here's a cost that nobody calculates. Every hour you spend carrying the weight that is not yours, it's an hour you're not spending on the things that actually grow your business. You're not building relationships. You're not thinking strategically. You're not developing your team. You're just maintaining. And maintaining feels productive, but it's the most expensive thing you can do because the opportunity cost is invisible. I learned this the hard way. I spent years in every campaign, every client call, every piece of reporting, all of that on top of leading my team, on top of building my business. And I thought to myself that I was being thorough, but what I was really doing was holding my business hostage to my own ability. The moment I started asking, honestly, is this weight mine to carry, or am I just afraid to let it go? That's when things actually started to change. So if you're in that seat right now, the one you can't leave, here's what I would ask you to do. Look at your calendar this week. Look at every meeting, every task, every flyer you're putting out. And for each one of them, ask yourself this question. Am I carrying this weight because I am the person for it, or because I haven't found the right person yet? The answer won't be comfortable, but it will show you exactly where your business growth is stuck, because your business can only grow as far as you let it. And right now, you might be that thing standing in the way of it. The weight of leadership doesn't go away. Marcus Aurelius carried it, Bill Knight carried it, every builder that ever mattered carried it. But the ones who lasted, the ones who built something real, they learned which weight was theirs and which weight was holding them back. The fact that people trust you to build their careers around that thing that you build, that's not a burden. That is a calling. The fact that clients hand you their business and they say, I trust you with this, that's not pressure. That's proof that what you've built matters. That's not a burden. That is the whole point. So again, here's what I want you to do. Find that one thing that you're carrying and you know it's not yours anymore to carry, and drop it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you stick around.